Good morning, everyone. Today is the 6th of March. It's Monday, so it's another weekly market analysis. So welcome to another one. We are going to review what happened last week and what's going to happen this week, right? So we're going to pay attention to the news events and to see where the market is and what we could expect for the week ahead. My name is Pedro. I'm the senior market analyst at Alphachain. So last week, there were a little bit of data coming out, but nothing big in particular. We had a manufacturing PMI last Wednesday, which is still below 50 all around the world, considering the Eurozone and UK and the US. So in the US at 47.7 at this point, roughly at what was expected. In the UK, it's at around 49.3, again, slightly around what was expected. And in the Eurozone, it's around 48.5, exactly as expected, and which are at the same levels as last month. We also had then last Friday, the services PMI, and these ones they are above 50, so they show a little bit of an expansion, which are much better than the manufacturing. In the US at 55.1, slightly higher than it was predicted, but around the same level where it was 1 month ago. Similar as well in the UK at 53.5 and the Eurozone at 52.7. Aside from that, we had CPI in the Eurozone at 8.5, so higher than expected. Even the month before, it was revised to the upside. Initially at 8.5, it was 8.6. Again, energy and food being the big factors for the increase on the inflation. However, and this is actually maybe the concern, is that the core CPI, it was even higher than the month ago, and even the prediction as well at 5.6. So even if we exclude energy and food, and tobacco and so on, we can still see that CPI is still increasing in the Eurozone, which is a concern in here. And we have seen even the days before when the individual CPI data was coming in Spain, France, and Germany, it was coming out higher than expected. And this is just kind of the confirmation of the reports that we have received the days before. So yes, expecting maybe another 50 basis points for the next 2-3 meetings. At least next one is almost guaranteed that ECB is going to, that's what the market is pressing in, 50 basis points hike. But the week after, the meeting after that as well, maybe the potential of another 50 basis points. And let's see from thereafter where we are going to be and what ECB is going to do. And if you manage to bring the inflation down again in the Eurozone. Something else from last week, CPI in Australia at 7.4, a little bit lower than before. Consumer confidence in the Eurozone, in the US, lower than the previous month and lower than expected. So a little bit of a concern in here. But basically, there weren't that many news occurring last week. Unemployment claims, once again, coming below the 200K mark. So still good numbers for the labor market. As you can see, it's showing strength in there. Eventually, and as I mentioned, eventually the labor market is going to be one of the most important data that can start showing that shift in the economy. So everyone is expecting eventually for the employment to come up again. And eventually this should reflect this number, the unemployment claims to go literally above 200, if not close to 300K mark, like above 250, and maybe getting closer to those numbers. That's maybe when you're going to start seeing a shift in the NFP, for example, which is going to occur this week. Aside from that, we also had quite a few Fed members, as usual, commenting, again, more hawkish than, or kind of in alignment with the Fed Chair Powell has been saying. And finally, the market kind of adjusted a little bit for that prediction of expecting at least for the next 3 Fed meetings, another 25 basis points, would lead from 4.75% the interest rate where we are at this point towards to 5.5% by midsummer. That's kind of what the market is pricing in at this point when we have the next meeting, the next Fed meeting on the 22nd of March. So basically, in less than 20 days, we are going to have the next Fed meeting, which again is basically expecting, or 72% is expecting at 25 basis points. There's maybe a 25% chance of 50 basis points, but most likely is going to be this one all the way until in May, again expecting another 25 basis points, and in June, again expecting another 25 basis points to reach those 5.5% where the market is pricing in here at this point. So this is something to keep an eye on in there. This week, it's a different story. So we're going to have a lot of data coming out. We have the interest rate decision in Australia, in Canada, and Japan. Australia is going to be already this night, expecting another 25 basis points from 3.35 to 3.60. So another 25 basis point hike in Australia. In Canada, it's going to be on Wednesday, and it's maybe one of the first central bankers that's not going to be hiking. So it's going to pause after 8 consecutive hikes in the interest rate. Is expected to stabilize it and to continue to be at 4.5%. And this is going to be, this is basically the first one that's going to not increase, while everyone else is still kind of continue to increase since they started last year with the hikes. So interesting to see how the market's going to react to this decision, and if this is actually something that they will sustain and they will not increase in the future, right? Of course, keeping an eye on the inflation and everything else in Canada to pay attention to how they will be reacting towards this, which is going to be interesting. And then on Friday we have another Bank of Japan interest rate decision, most likely to stay at minus 0.10%. And this one is going to be the last one from the current governor of Japan, Kuroda, that is going to finish his tenure as a Bank of Governor in April. So this is going to be the last one after 10 years in services as governor of Bank of Japan. We know that they already found and they announced the new governor to replace him after April. So it's going to be most likely the decision is going to be to stay the same, still dovish, still controlling the 10-year bond at 0.5% and keep printing money in that regard. Let's see if any monetary policy changes after April when the new governor takes place. Let's see what's going to happen in the future, right? The market has been trying to look for some kind of hawkish tonality or approach from the Bank of Japan. It hasn't seen anything like that, so we'll see. But yes, this is going to be the last one after 10 years in service as a governor of the Bank of Japan. So this is regarding the interest rate decisions. So Australia, Canada, and in Japan. Another big news is going to be, of course, the Fed Chair Powell that's going to testify in front of the Senate and the Congress for 2 days, starting Tuesday, and then continues, starts Tuesday and then continues on Wednesday. So expect some volatility. Usually the way it goes, Mr. Fed Chair Powell is going to read a statement, in the beginning to explain its views of the monetary policy that is applying. And then, of course, it's going to lead to a Q&A session. It lasts maybe 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. It's even longer than usually we see during the FOMC press conference. And the tonality of the questions, they are different as well. There's going to be maybe not just, they're going to feel a little bit of the political side included in the questions, while during the FOMC press conference, it's literally maybe just regarding to economics and to the market. So we'll see how it goes, but expect for sure some volatility in there, and let's see what are the Fetcher Powell views as well on what should expect for the next meeting, which is going to happen on the 22nd of March. So these are 2 days in a row, Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, next week or this week by Friday, we are going to have NFP, non-farm payroll. Before that, and as you know, we start having some data coming out about the labor market. So we started on Wednesday with the ADP non-farm employment changed, and then the job openings as well. So Wednesday expect a super volatile day. And then, of course, the unemployment claims. So based a little bit, paying attention to the data that's coming out during these 2 reports, and the ADP and the job openings, maybe we can start making some predictions of how strong or weak the data is going to come out for the unemployment, for the NFP in there. At this point, we are at 3.4% unemployment. This is kind of record lows for many decades. Let's see if you're going to stay like this. Something that I noticed, if you pay attention to this chart, let me just zoom in a little bit. As you can see, this line in here is the expectation. And since April last year, March, April, maybe April last year, 2022, it was the last time that the data came out lower than expected. Since then, it has coming out always higher than expected, with super surprise in here in August, where the market was expecting 250, and it was basically 500,000 jobs, quite similar to what happened last month, which was expecting around 200K new jobs, and it was 517 new jobs being created. So yes, since April last year, that the expectation has been always higher. The real data has overcome the expectation. So for this week or this month, we are expecting 206 new jobs being created. So let's see if we beat again the expectation in here, and it's going to be higher than that, or if it's going to be lower. And also, if by any chance this 500,000 new jobs created last month, if there's going to be any kind of revision as well, either to the downside or to the upside in here, which could also affect the market eventually when the data comes out next Friday. So expect finally, again, after 1 or 2 weeks with the not so relevant news that we had during the last 2 weeks, this week we are full back on with a few central bankers into decision making, and Pedro Silva testifying for 2 days in a row, and then all the unemployment data coming out as well during this week. So if you pay attention to the market and what you can see, so this is where we are, right? So we noticed that we had a bullish or a bearish January for the dollar. Then we had a bullish February in the dollar, basically retesting January highs, and now we are within this range for the last week or so, right? So we made all this move to downside, retested a little bit the highs, and you are in here, and it's going to be interesting to see, and most likely that's going to happen this week. We may start either resuming this move to the upside since the beginning of February, or by any chance we may be within this range and we may see dollar starting to move again to the downside and resuming the move to the downside. For me personally, I'll be paying attention to what price is going to do around these highs. I still see a little bit of a zone above last week high that price could go to, and price could reverse. If we break above this level, I think we eventually are going to see the dollar continue to go higher. If by any chance we keep respecting these highs in here, maybe there's a chance that we may resume and go retest all the way until here. If not, even then breaking these lows. So I'll keep an eye on this around these highs in here. Last month's highs, not last month, January highs, to see how the dollar is going to react. Even if you break above these highs, maybe you can have then a kind of a deep retracement in here, but eventually I'll be expecting the dollar to continue to go higher. And yes, let's see if we manage to break last week's lows as well. Looking at the indices and how the market has been reacting. So again, we had such a bullish starting of the year, with price going upwards during the month of January. Then we had a little bit of a retracement to the downside during the month of February, and now in March we are starting to have this bullish move again. Maybe are going to go all the way back to retest February highs, and somewhere in there we either kind of respect it and maybe continue to move down, or by any chance we just resume the move upwards. Looking at the daily time frame, which is a time frame that maybe many big institutionals look at, and looking at this 200 moving average, we can see that price has kind of respected this moving average in here. So at the lows, and all of a sudden when it looked like it was about to close below it, there was a good reversal in here last Thursday, still finishing and even breaking the previous high. And now on Friday, it continued with that bullishness scenario in here. So many people, they may be looking at this, at price respecting this 200 moving average and seeing bullish scenarios in here. So let's see if by any chance we are not going to continue to have now this move upwards. Price reacted quite nicely from this demand so far. Yes, the highs are reacting from this level of supply. I mentioned quite a few times that I wouldn't be surprised. I would actually like to see eventually the S&P to maybe go closer to this level before any major sell. Let's see what kind of movement we are going to start having in here until maybe we can resume to move to the downside, if that's about to happen, or if you're going to continue to have this strong bullish scenario on the indices. So yes, maybe there's a chance that price can retest last month's high somewhere in here, getting closer again. Again, eventually you just touch the 4K level again, and eventually can go close to this 4,150. Nasdaq doing a little bit, of course, something similar to S&P, how correlated they are, and the same scenario, right? So we had this moving average, the 200 moving average being retested one time, two times. We had a small fake out in there, and price kind of reversing and showing some bullish momentum in here. We actually broke a little bit this low, which can be seen eventually as a future indication that price may want to go down in the future. Nevertheless, Nasdaq for me is actually the one where I'm a little bit more bullish comparing with the other ones, the indices, because we actually broke this high from here. Therefore, I could see price eventually continue to go higher, and maybe this can be a good zone for that to happen, into eventually navigating towards, again, somewhere in there, or to test the highs from August last year before maybe making any kind of move to the downside. So let's see if you don't have this kind of movement occurring in here until maybe price reach that level and can continue to go down. But yes, Nasdaq for me is a very bit more bullish, just because of what I can see in here, that we literally took this high for a little bit. I see that as an engulf upwards, and yes, maybe from here it's enough, and price can navigate to the upside. That may mean that dollar wants to go a little bit further down. Yes, maybe a little bit of a difference in terms of correlation between the dollar as well. We'll see. And this is Dow Jones, right? So Dow is on the opposite side is the one that have been a little bit more bearish for the last few months. We went all the way back to retest these lows in here. We didn't manage to break them. So again, we fake out that level, as I mentioned way too many times, kind of still looking for price eventually that could go towards this level in here instead of just pausing in there. Nevertheless, with respect to this low, there was no break below yet, so we didn't break it, and we had a really nice trend line in here as well. So maybe there was that opportunity to for those longs. Let's see now how price is going to react around this level of support resistance level. This one as well, basically where price is reacting now. Is price going to react from here and start going down, or just a small reaction maybe towards this level and then continue to go higher? So that's something to keep an eye on the Dow. Yep, moving it in this way. And then we have DAX, right? DAX is one that has been trading in this range for quite a long time. Finally, is moving and breaking the highs. It reacted quite nicely from this demand zone that was still fresh from those levels. As I mentioned a few times, just doing this. I actually would like to see DAX going a little bit this high in here, and maybe there's an opportunity to look for a sell in there. Now taking out all these highs in here, maybe there's that opportunity. Eventually, maybe if you do break below that level, maybe there's a chance to look for a break, or price can just maybe break it and retest it and continue to go higher. Something that I'm not a big fan of is this double top. Like anytime you kind of see this double top like that, of this all-time highs in there, there's a chance that price maybe can fake out the double top before reversing. But for now, I think there's a good opportunity to maybe look for a sell at around 15,800, somewhere in there. Don't consider it exactly to the pip, just keeping an eye on it to see how price is going to behave around there. I'd like to see some kind of demand being created in here. Price eventually goes there quite fast and eventually breaks below it. And whenever we see that zone being broken, maybe have an opportunity to look for a sell, even maybe in alignment with these previous highs in here. Somewhere in here can be a good zone to look for that. For the sell, kind of broke a little bit of these lows, but maybe just reacted from here. So maybe there's up opportunity. Let's see how the DAX is going to move along the way. And if you do reach that level in there. Euro index, something that we also follow. Yes. Reacted from this level, reacted quite nicely. This size reacted quite nicely from that level on the left side. I was still looking a little bit for price eventually that could go in here, but for now we never broke this level. So let's see how price is going to react from this level, right? So we're just reacting now from this previous level of support resistance. After moving upwards, is price going to respect this size and start going down, or by any chance we're going to just continue to navigate to the upside? That can happen. Price respected actually quite nicely this demand zone. There is no break below yet. So let's see even if price may even take this highs a little bit and kind of react a little bit more deeper into this level before move down. That may be something still in here that can be used. Yep, we just react from this SR zone. There's maybe still this demand in there to be looking at. So yeah, keeping an eye on that one to see if we have any bearishness on the euro, on these euro pairs in there. So yep, let's see how price is going to react from it. This high in here, it was still created since the last ECB press conference. So yeah, let's see if it's going to hold price and price is going to drop from here, or by any chance it's going to be broken above it. So yeah, keeping it on this level, and then maybe a zone above it. And the yen, right? What can I expect from the yen? Basically comparing with where we were last week and what we were expecting, we're literally looking for price to fill this price and then in more detail, even this demand zone, and we finally reach that level, right? So that's what we have been looking for the last few weeks on the yen. So let's see if from here price is ready, the yen is ready to kind of move upwards. Again, some news coming out on the yen this week. So let's see what kind of volatility. Are you going to question mark? Are you going to respect these lows, or are you going to break them? If you do respect them, maybe there's a chance to continue to go higher, maybe even go all the way to test somewhere in there, or by any chance, if you break them, maybe there's room to go even further down eventually. Maybe first something in here, but there's maybe the chance for price to go even farther down and eventually could reach this this level in here. So that's something to keeping an eye on. Let's see how price is going to behave around this zone. Breaking above it, maybe a little bit more bullishness on the end, which kind of would lead dollar yen and so on to move to the downside. So that's basically for the major indices. Now we take a look at individual currency pairs. And what we can see in here is a little bit similar. The euro moving quite similar to the dollar. We created these lows since 1 week ago, last Monday. After that, we moved to the upside. Didn't really broke this level, but respected quite nicely this low. So we are in the middle in here. Are you going to, by any chance, start reversing to the upside before breaking this level? As you know, a few weeks ago, this was the target that you were looking for since we made this move in here. So price reached that target. And yeah, from here, it can go and start having this deep retracement, or by any chance, if you do break below this low, in here, it opens the door for price to go further down. If you just respect it, maybe there's a continuation here to be expected on the euro, and price can just continue to see more bullishness on the euro, on the zero pair. So let's see, bigger picture. There's maybe even a little bit more room to go higher. It's actually a good level in here. So we'll see what's going to happen. But it's a nice demand zone in there. So let's see, price is not going to just move higher. On the euro today, already opening with a little bit of a decision in here. Pound is literally within this range, respecting, created the double top in here, created the triple bottom now at around this level. Again, it's also reacting from this level since the beginning of January, since 6th of January, when he created this low. Bigger picture, as I mentioned, I think I'm a little bit more bearish here on the dollar. I see this low already as a break below these lows, kind of maybe navigating towards a little bit further down. But for now, price is just respecting here. Even if you break below these lows, there's already way too many lows accumulated in here. There's enough liquidity for price maybe just fake out something and then move higher. Just similar way with this double top. If you do break above this double top, maybe there's something in there that can then push price to the downside. So let's see if we are kind of starting to move away from here. If you create this double low, if you create a new low in here, there's maybe the chance to literally continue to move further down with the potential to maybe reach this level in here on the pound. Yep, maybe reach somewhere in there. It's going to be something as well to keep an eye on. Aussie, which is going to have interest rate decision overnight. Comparing with the euro and the dollar, Aussie for me it's a little bit more bearish. I think all this is compressed. I would like to see Aussie eventually reaching or breaking these lows and going further down. Nevertheless, it could go maybe higher first. Maybe we'll test something before that move down. But I would like to see eventually Aussie to feel all this zone all the way until these lows, if not even a little bit further down in there. This was still a fresh demand zone where price has been reacting since last week. Nevertheless, I would like to see Aussie going a little bit further down. It's reacting from this nice level in here. There's maybe something a little bit above it that eventually can be used now to fake out all this double top and to move down. So it's creating a really nice level of structure somewhere in here that price eventually could take it and then maybe resume to move down if that's the case. So keeping an eye on that one as well. But yes, on the Aussie, personally, I'm a little bit more bearish comparing with the euro and the pound. I'm okay with if the euro and the pound kind of can go higher from here. On the Aussie, eventually, I'd like to see price going there before any major turn. Yes. Euro Aussie, kind of the opposite of the Aussie. I'm looking for price to go at least until there, if not higher, but at least until here. Could feel all this compression. For now, it was reacting a little bit from there. I think all this is compressed, so I'm looking for price to go above this size, and then let's see if it goes and wants to go lower from here. Price here, this high kind of reacted from a good level. There's a chance it can go even a little bit higher in there. This is my favorite zone of all. But that's for the future. Somewhere in there that could lead for a huge sell opportunity whenever price goes there, but that can take a few months at least. For now, I'm just looking for this one in here and maybe some reaction to expect it from here, and from there maybe you could see then the Aussie going higher, while the Euro Aussie could go lower. Just keeping an eye as well on these lows. For now, price has been respecting the lows. So yeah, let's see how the Euro Aussie is going to continue to move towards there. Dun, 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 dun. The yen pairs. Yep. So the yen pairs have been on a rally since basically all month of February. They are starting to have a little bit of a retracement in here. So price has been reacting from a good level in here, this level of supply, and it's a natural thing to do, kind of compressing. There are a few zones on the left that were still fresh. We start having a little bit of compression, nice reaction from this extreme, nice reaction now from the demand that was left behind in there. Somewhere in here at the lows, we created a little bit of a new high in here. So let's see if we are not kind of having a little bit of price navigating like this until maybe reaching maybe price in there, or even going closer to this level. So we may be still moving a little bit higher on the dollar yen in this type of compression. So when we are moving like this, there can be opportunities to either go long or short. Just manage your expectations regarding your targets in there. So yep, maybe taking a little bit of highs, take the liquidity, goes down, then kind of take a little bit of the lows, or respect to reach with the extreme of the lows and then kind of go higher. You'll see that usually in this kind of compression move, it can lead to some opportunities either to go long or short. And if you do find some specific zone that you would like to see the yen going to, maybe eventually that's where it goes. Even if it looks like it's starting to become super bearish, maybe there's still a way to reverse until final kind of reach that final zone before maybe the final big turn on the yen. Let's see, it's going to still be around these highs, it's going to be a little bit in here, or it's going to be closer to this level, taking this high in there. So you are seeing a little bit of a move on the yen. Finally, after spending way too much time in here, this looks like a good accumulation zone. I already broke these highs, and yeah, this one is kind of the next zone in there. Looking at the other yen pairs, we have euro yen also moving a little bit in a quite similar way, maybe a little bit of a compression. We slightly took these highs. We are reacting from this level. This was a really good level to expect some reaction. However, there's maybe a little bit of a better zone above it, and maybe that's the destination that the euro yen eventually is navigating towards too. So it took this demand now that was created in there. This was kind of a little bit broken. Eventually price can navigate all the way and reach this level. But maybe before that, maybe price wants to go continue to go a little bit higher and maybe getting closer to this zone in here instead of just stopping in there. So that's something to keep an eye on. Let's see what kind of approach as well we're going to do. Eventually we can reach a turn and eventually reach this level. So yeah, we're reacting a little bit from this level, maybe a little bit more of a demand in there. Yeah, something to keep an eye on. And regarding the euro yen, it can be some strong move or weak move on the euro, or some strong move or weak move on the yen that can be the catalyst for the move on the euro yen in here. So yep, keeping an eye on it. I think there's going to be some good opportunities to try to trade on these yen pairs. Dollar CAD, again, super compressed. We are going to have that interest rate decision, expecting to continue to stay at 4.5%. So no change on the interest rate for the first time since the last 8 meetings. Which is going to be interesting to see how the market is going to react towards it. We have been kind of in this range in here. We have all this resistance level in here. Prices managed to respect this low so far. A lot of spikes in here already. So are you going to, by any chance, respect this level? Could go down again? Like it hasn't been the easiest to trade, this easiest pair to trade. Let's see. Nice reaction from the bottom in here. And now let's see how price is going to react around this resistance level. Are you going to finally break it and go a little bit closer to these highs? Or are you going to, by any chance, keep respecting this resistance and start navigating to the downside? Maybe there can be some kind of trend line that you can draw in here that can help you to see eventually when you're about to turn. At this point, it looks like kind of a creating this kind of triangle, which let's see to which side is it going to break through. But yeah, we are kind of testing this resistance level in here. And we never managed to break these lows, which is kind of an important level in here. We didn't manage to break these highs, maybe a little bit to the upside. I think there was a little bit more space in here to go higher. These highs just pausing there. So let's see if you're not going to continue to move higher. Dollar franc Swiss, right? Dollar franc Swiss is another one that we have been a little bit bullish since we kind of took these lows in here. So all the month of February, we have been on a rally, and now in March we have a little bit of a retracement, a little bit similar to what we have seen on the dollar. So the correlation is there. Let's see. Personally, I think there could be a little bit more room to the upside eventually on dollar franc Swiss. But let's see where we're going to find some kind of support before maybe continue to go higher. We have this previous level in here, or by any chance, if you're actually going to feel all this and maybe going back to this level in there. At the extreme could be still something in here to look for a long. Nice reaction there last Friday. Yeah, let's see what the dollar franc Swiss is going to do. It can be quite correlated with the dollar. So if by any chance we start noticing a little bit of a bullish scenario on the dollar, maybe dollar franc Swiss can follow. From where? That's the question. Let's see how this looks. A lot of compression. If price breaks below this level and below this level, we could definitely maybe see price going all the way until here. In terms of looking for sales, maybe this can be a zone in here, the supply. Aside from that, at the extreme, or maybe something in here. So let's see. Overall, bigger picture. Yeah, since we broke that level, it's extreme in here. I'd like to see price going a little bit higher. But let's see. Let's see what the dollar franc Swiss is going to do. Gold. So gold, of course, similar to the dollar. Dollar went to the downside last week, and gold moved to the upside last week. So it reacted from a really nice level in here, retesting also this previous level of support resistance, something that we have been looking at as well since price was moving to downside as a natural zone to look for some kind of reaction. And price reacted from there, right? It's basically one of the last months in here, almost below this level, almost everything is been compressed. And then we could expect gold eventually to go to 1,766, something like that. But for now, a good reaction from there, and a reaction from this daily level, and eventually we could even look or see gold going a little bit closer to this, to those highs. But for now, it's a good reaction from here, but eventually we could go even above this double top, like as I mentioned. So let's see what kind of a move we are going to have in here on gold. Really nice supply level with a Quasimodo in here, as you can see it, kind of where price now is reacting. We have this left shoulder. Yeah, that's nice. Eventually price can go a little bit there, as I mentioned. Let's see, price took this demand zone. That's done. So let's see if by any chance price wants to retest this low before continuing to go higher, or just want to respect this level. There's even maybe another chance to look for a sell in there if that's the idea. This highs never really reached this level, so this is just maybe an opportunity to look for a sell even today in case price retests this level. Be careful with the approach, pay attention to the approach, try to find a good trigger, but this could look like a quasi model. Also depends on where this low is reacting from. At this point, reacting from this level, there may be a chance that price may want to go a little bit lower. So if by any chance price retests a little bit in here, maybe can go closer to this. Maybe this setup could happen in today's session. For gold, we'll see in there. Let's see bigger picture. Again, the correlation with the dollar, it's important to be aware of. Looking at the oil again. Oh, nice spike in here. So we are still within this range, right, between almost the $70 mark all the way through $82 mark. That has been since November that we are within this level. Created a really nice level of support in here. Now slightly broke this high, slightly broke this level. So next destination actually could be somewhere in here around 181.5. We kind of respected this low. So my question, as you know, I've been asking is for how long we are going to stay within this range. And maybe there's a chance that we can continue within this range for a little longer until maybe some signs of recession start to kick in, or maybe something changes in the between Russia and Ukraine situation. China that is coming back again. China last night or this morning in China, there was the forecast for 2023. Forecasting around 5% GDP, real GDP, for the end until the end of the year, which was a little bit the prediction was a little bit at the lower end between the ranging between 5 and 5.5%, which is again a little bit lower than lower end of the expectation, with inflation at around 3%. That's kind of what they are predicting. So let's see how China is going to kind of outperform this year after being basically locked down during 2022, right? So of course that can have an impact as well on the oil markets. So yes, let's see for how long we are going to stay within this range, or by any chance if this is a accumulation phase and we are starting to slowly navigating to the upside, which could be a concern because it would increase the cost of energy prices, and maybe that could lead again inflation to increase. Yeah, and now looking at the finalize with crypto. So I had a big sell-off last Tuesday, not Tuesday, from Thursday, Friday night. We had a big sell-off in here, reaching this level of structure, right? So we are in here. We are back at this level after retesting those highs, the highs that broke August highs around the 25K mark. Bitcoin retraced all the way back to this demand zone. So let's see if by any chance from here we are going to continue to move to the upside, or by any chance we break these lows at 21K 300. Personally, this highs means that it wants to go higher. Now it doesn't need to go higher from here. It can even literally have a deeper retracement all the way back to basically the beginning of the year lows around 17K before maybe moving to the upside. This can just mean something for the future after breaking these highs in here. Something that we can pay attention to on the crypto is how the correlation has changed with the indices comparing with last year. Last year, since the beginning of the year, all the way maybe to maybe in the last quarter of the year, it's starting to change a little bit. But there was such a strong correlation between what crypto, especially Bitcoin, Ethereum was doing and what the S&P, Nasdaq were doing, right? There was maybe, I don't know, 80% correlation that we found. Anytime one finished in the green, the other one would finish in the green as well. Or if there was a bearish day, it would be the same scenario. And so many times that we saw the movement or strong moves around BTC or Ethereum during the weekend, and then basically the week ahead on the indices would follow what happened during the weekend on the crypto space. And at this point, it's changing, right? We have this strong sell-off, for example, on the 3rd of March, and we actually have the indices going to the upside with a really strong move, right? And so it's slightly changing. Which is interesting, kind of getting his own personality, his own moves underrated to the indices. So yeah, crypto BTC is reacting from this level. Let's see if by any chance this level in here is still going to hold price up, and price can go higher from here, or by any chance if we do break them and maybe we can navigate lower. A little bit similar to Ethereum. Again, another sell-off in there. There's maybe a little bit more room to downside towards this level. Again, the highs are reacting from a good level. Let's see, we do have now this supply level. We still have that one in there that can be something to look for. I was still looking for price to go a little bit higher in there, but this is a good level where price reacted. Let's see if by any chance price just respects this level and continues to go down, or if price kind of reaches this level in the first and starts moving higher. This was already kind of a break below, so eventually we could see price maybe getting closer to this 1,350 in there. So yes, let's see what the crypto is going to do. That's basically it in terms of the weekly market analysis that I wanted to do with you guys, that I wanted to share with you. So expect some volatility, some good data coming out this week in Australia, Canada, Japan, with interest rate decisions, and Powell testifying on Tuesday and Wednesday in the afternoon, and all the labor market data coming out starting Wednesday all the way through Friday with the NFP. So expect some volatility, and let's see if the dollar is going to resume the move to the upside that we saw happening in February, or if by any chance we're starting to retrace and maybe retesting February lows. The indices as well, are we going to go all the way back to the upside, retesting February highs, or by any chance the bears take control again and we see another move to the downside, trying to retest January lows? So that's what you're going to be looking at this week. Have a good one. Good luck with your trading week. Don't forget to follow your trading plan. I'll see you guys next Monday for another weekly market analysis. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye bye.